does watching TV or something else, either before bed or in bed, a good way to relax? We're going to talk about the sleep myth and actually a group of sleep myths about watching in order to relax before you climb into bed or when you're maybe struggling in the middle of the night. And the most important thing within this video today is to really look at your personal situation. I have worked with many different clients over the years who have used this entertainment piece, the watching something, in order to help them in some way. But the question you've got to ask yourself is, has those sort of habits you developed about watching things really help you to fully overcome the sleep problems that you're experiencing? That's really the practical question that we've got to ask ourselves. If it's a great way to relax for you personally, then let's not make it into a problem. But a lot of the times what I see with clients is that it might feel good, but it hasn't really fully sorted or helped them sort their sleep problems out in the long run. So they might still be watching something, but it's actually not helping them in any way or very little ways. So that's how we're going to look at this topic in today's video. And I'm going to give you a couple of different scenarios where either it might be a positive thing for you or it might be a negative thing for you in your situation. Now, naturally, watching things late at night is not a bad thing. It's part of our life. But the question is, are you watching in order to help your sleep? Are you taking maybe your mobile device into bed with you in order to watch something there? So there's lots and lots of different scenarios when it comes to this sort of part of our evening routine and preparation to even go to bed and prepare for sleep. Now, before we look at these different situations that I've seen over the years, let me welcome you back if you're part of my community already. And if you're brand new, then I'm quickly going to introduce myself. My name is Beatrix Schmidt. I'm a sleep coach, a professional speaker, and the creator of the Sleep Skills for Life program, which is very much my way of helping people just like you who have long-term insomnia and sleep problems and haven't quite figured out how to overcome it yet. So this is where a lot of my clients spend months, if not years, trying different things, but it hasn't helped them to fully overcome the sleep challenges that they had. And when you keep doing things by yourself, but the results aren't really happening or following, then it's really time to look at working with someone who's practicing the field. So that's very much what I do every single day in my sleep coaching practice, working with adults. Now, if you haven't yet, hit that subscribe button below, hit that little bell as well so I can let you know when I post new videos on this big topic of sleep problems, insomnia, and so on. So let's turn our attention back to this group of sleep myths about watching something. Now, there is a difference between watching something before you climb into bed and watching something after you climb into bed. But we're not going to have time to look at a lot of different scenarios. So we're really just going to look at more generally both, but in a different way. So you can start looking at whether or not it's really helping you to relax or not. Now, actually physically watching something that might be relaxing or you might enjoy, that can really be a positive thing. So this isn't about not consuming anything at all hours before going into bed. But what I want you to look at is the last sort of 20 minutes, maybe 30 minutes before you turn the lights off or before you intend to fall asleep. So again, if you're climbing into bed and then maybe watching something for 45 minutes, then you really want to look at the time frame closest to the intention of when you would like to either fall asleep easily or you would want to start your night as in sleep time. Because if you're watching an hour and a half of film, let's say on your sofa, that's a very different situation, and that time frame is very long in relation to your sleep. So really look at the last 20 to 30 minutes of whatever you end up consuming. That's really the best way for us to figure out whether or not it is positively or negatively influencing the outcome. The longer the time frame, the more things will end up unfolding. So it's going to be a much more complex situation where you might not know how it's influencing you. So the first part is physical. So how does whatever you're watching affect you physically? Now, a lot of the times, clients stop watching things because they're concerned about blue light exposure. I also have other clients who have watched something but in total darkness because they thought that it was going to help them to fall asleep in an easier way. So again, these situations are already very different. But if you're interested in this idea of blue light exposure and how that might influence your sleep in a practical way, then I'll link a video below for you to just really look at that specific scenario. Now, if you are watching something and it seems that physically you are relaxed, meaning you might be even sleepy or you might actually start drifting into sleep. One of the first things we want to figure out is, can you maintain that? So I have clients where they might watch something and they might feel like they're falling asleep or they feel like they're very relaxed, but once they move to their bed or wherever they end up sleeping, then that's completely different and they become wired and they become opposite to relaxed. So this is where just because you watch something, it doesn't mean you can retain that relaxation. So when it comes to physically whether or not it's helping you to relax, look at it in that way. So if whatever you're watching is creating that really cozy feeling, it's helping your mind to relax, it's helping your emotions to be stable, and then once you climb into bed and you don't have any issues after that, then what the sign is there is most likely it is helping you to relax in some way. Now, when we look at then the second part, which is the emotional part, whatever you are watching and you're not falling asleep while you're watching it. So again, you're fully aware of everything you're watching until the moment you decide not to watch it anymore. You got to look at emotions, because more and more, some of the things we are watching are going to impact us in different emotional ways. If you're really interested in, let's say, a series, it's going to really bring up your curiosity and you're going to feel either happy or sad or frustrated about maybe not knowing what's going to happen next in the next episode. Maybe the character you're watching in, let's say, again, a series, you're really involved with them and you're happy for them because the story that you heard from that particular episode was a very positive one. So see, whatever you're watching is already going to start actually impact you emotionally. Now, it doesn't have to be negative, it can be positive, but it means that you're further away from relaxation in an emotional way. If you turn something off and you feel hyper emotionally, you're going to know that sign right there. So is it helping you to emotionally relax and maintain a neutral place? Sometimes, and even I had that experience, if I watched something and it ended on a cliffhanger, I was way more worked up about it. And this is where often we would want to click on to the next episode. So see that emotional involvement might make you decide something that you might not actually be helping you to sleep in a good way. So watch those emotional things and really look at how it's affecting you emotionally, positively or negatively, and how far away you are from being neutral. Now, if you are neutral emotionally, then most likely it's going to help you with emotional relaxation. But if you're not, it's probably going to create the opposite. So this is where watching something might actually taking you further away from that emotional relaxation. Then we look at the third part, which is mental relaxation. Now, naturally, our mind's job is to really figure out whatever we watched or seen or heard. Is it significant? Do we need to deal with it? Is there any learnings from it? Is there any hindsights we can draw from it? So intellectual information is going to be something that your mind has to process in different ways before you really detach from the day and fall asleep and transition into sleep. Now, whatever you're watching might not have to actually affect you in a negative way. But if you're more of a thinker type and you're watching something that has a direct relation to either your lifestyle, so this is where maybe late night news might actually make you think about things that you heard or things that you have seen. If you're watching a documentary of maybe someone that you aspire to become or take any of their traits or habits, then what that will mean is that those pieces of information from the intellectual part will be something that your mind is interested in exploring. And again, there are many different examples here. So again, a good way to look at it is when you turn whatever you're watching off, how does it affect you mentally? Do you have more thoughts coming up about it? Do you actually have maybe ideas, creative ideas? Maybe you have certain thought patterns that rise up from the information you consume. And that's how you can again establish whether or not this is helping you to mentally relax, or maybe it was just a distraction. And once you stopped watching something, all your other thoughts started rushing back in. So these are the three different ways that I look at whether or not watching something creates relaxation with different clients. Your personality traits will play a role. What kind of person you are will play a role. What kind of lifestyle you have will play a role. So again, really look at your personal situation. How does whatever you're watching, whether that's before bed or in bed, affect you in these three different ways? And if it doesn't provide consistent positive results in relation to your sleep or sleep challenges, then you're going to know that there is a gap here. Maybe what you're watching might be covering a physical or the emotional part, but it might not actually be helping you to mentally relax. So again, these are the ways that you can really look at how whether or not watching something is really creating that full relaxation, the physical, emotional, mental relaxation that you need in order to transition into sleep in an easy way. And also to sleep through the night in an easy way as well. So I hope that today's video has helped you to look at this group of sleep myths in a very practical way, depending on your situation. It's a very fun way to look at it. When I look at these sleep myths and when clients tell me all about it, I'm like, okay, well, let's look at your situation and see how it fits, or maybe it doesn't fit. So go ahead and look at your situation as well. And no matter what you're watching, it's got to start with figuring out how it's affecting you and whether or not it is truly helping you to relax, or maybe it's actually taking you further away from relaxation in its more optimal way. So if you haven't yet, then this is the time to hit that like button below, subscribe to my channel if you're interested in these kind of videos, and hit that bell, little bell as well, so I can let you know when I post new videos. Other than that, I'm looking forward to sharing more of these different things with you in the coming weeks. So thank you so much and see you next time.